this is a pretty straightforward tier list. It's these Pokemon we always use an experience share on 100% of the time in solo queue, duo queue, 5-stack, whatever it is that you're playing. These Pokemon have the experience share. If you're confused about which Pokemon you should be running an EXP share on, or you've got a bit of a spicy opinion about the solo queue, duo queue, not running an EXP share on Slowbro, for example, I think you'll get a lot of value from watching this video through to the end. I'm going to talk through which Pokemon I think you should be running an EXP share on, you shouldn't be running one on, and some Pokemon that it is it's an interesting pick, but it's definitely off meta, but by no means is it throwing your games. So let's jump straight into it. Metagross, I would say, is a very, very spicy choice in the fact that you could use Metagross as like a tank in the bottom lane, but I think it's like, I wouldn't say never, ever use it, but it's like, it's a very, very questionable. It's very spicy. So I would probably avoid using an EXP share on Metagross, but to be quite honest, at the moment, until Metagross gets his buffs, I'd just avoid using him altogether. Slowbro, you should always be running an EXP share on Slowbro, guys. You get 3 items. The fact that people are not running an EXP share, it's just a little bit too greedy. Like, I think running a choice specs or something like that over experience share is just silly. The amount of experience you can generate with this Pokemon, it gets an early power spike at level 4. You don't need to be level 13 at the Rayquaza. You just need to be level 11 or 12. It's just, I think it's very, very greedy. Dragapult, never ever use, right? I wouldn't ever consider running an EXP share on this Pokemon. Pikachu is a very spicy pick. Now, the reason why I'm not saying never ever use is because you could use Pikachu as a supportive laning partner. Even though he doesn't heal, he does a lot of stunning and a lot of anti-stacking. And the other attacker that I would say that's true for is Ninetales. Again, these are spicy picks. Like, this is cooking. However, it's not. These Pokemon aren't in the case of never ever use. Like, for example, Glaceon, you just don't do that. Inteleon, you don't. Like, there are a whole bunch of Pokemon. Zacian, you don't do it. Mimikyu, you don't do it. Espon, you don't do it. Mewtwo Y, you don't do it. Like, we could just. Honestly, I probably should just pre-fill this, right? Decidueye, no. Cramorant, no. Venusaur, no. Dodrio, no. Mew. No, never ever, right? Never ever. What else? Zoroark, no. Talonflame, no. Delphox. Delphox honestly is like one of the other spicy picks, but actually I'm just going to leave it there to annoy people in case they don't actually watch any explanation. Delphox is definitely on the very, very end of a spicy pick with similar reasoning that you could go Fire Spin and Fire Blast and Fire Spin. There's a lot of CC. It's very valuable. You get that Unite move very quickly, so you don't actually have to farm a lot, like 1 or 2 little bits of farm, and you can get your levels just by participating in team fights. Mewtwo X is a very spicy one. Now, Inda's come up with a video about using like a tank Mewtwo Y, and honestly, it's actually not even that bad. It's genuinely not that bad. It's like, it is viable. It is 100% viable. You can use it as a tank, and I'm like, I didn't believe it until I saw it. Now, other Pokemon would be Leafeon, Absol, Zeraora, Urshifu. Where'd Zeraora go? There he is. Sylveon, Gardevoir, Greninja, Cinderace, Tyranitar, Meowscarada, Gengar, Charizard, Blaziken, Clario, Garchomp, Azumarill, Machamp, Scizor and Scyther, Serena, Aegislash, Urshifu, Dragonite, Buzzwole, Duraludon, and Chandelure. Okay, we do not use EXP share on these Pokemon in here. All right, we don't do it. It's just not an item that you put on any of these Pokemon, and I feel like this is common knowledge. But the rest of this is up for contestation. Okay, Clefable is always use an experience share on this Pokemon. I don't care what your argument is. I don't care if you think you're trying to, even if you're going the Sweet Kiss build or whatever it is, the damage move instead of Moonlight. I still think it's far too valuable to be using an EXP share in comparison to another item. Eldegoss is one that I would highly encourage. Only reason I'm saying that you don't always have to use it is because you can get great value out of Muscle Band, out of the Rapid Fire Scarf, out of Buddy Barrier, out of a whole bunch of different items. And if you know that you're queuing into people that are not so, I guess, switched on, not so great, you'll probably get almost as much value out of using another item. Eldegoss is the only one who I'd say is very highly encouraged. Same as Lapras, right? You can use Lapras and Blastoise as like a hybrid kind of top laner attacker tank sort of build. So I would highly encourage using EXP Share on this Pokemon. If you don't see an experience share on these Pokemon, generally, and Goodra's another one in that sense, that, and same as Greedent, right? These defenders, they operate as tanks who are essentially all-arounders. So I would say I'd highly encourage it because you can flex into both builds with the EXP Share, but it's a quick adjustment to just use. You might go Focus Band and Slick Spoon, and then you might jump something else on instead of your EXP Share. Maybe an AOS Cookie, maybe a Stacking Specs, I'm not sure what build you might go there, but I wouldn't say you always have to use an experience share with those defenders because of how they function. I don't care what your stance is on Umbreon. If you're not using experience share, I think it's very silly. You get the level 4 evolution, which is very valuable. Even if you're going Foul Play and Snarl, you don't need to take all the experience. You don't need to take all the levels, right? It's advantageous for you to be a little bit under level because generally as the tank you're going to be the first one to die in the not necessarily the first one to die, but you're the most at risk of dying in those team fights because you're the one in the most compromising position. Revenant, I used to be a fan of carry Trevenant, like with like attack weight, AS Cookie, and something else. For the purpose of solo and duo queue, he once upon a time used to be able to carry as well as some of those other defenders without the experience share, like your Lapras and your Blastoise and stuff like that, but I just don't think that's the case anymore. I think you need to be running it on this Pokemon. Mamoswine is a very similar conversation as well. I just think you should be running an experience share on Mamoswine. Mamoswine's a little bit trickier though because he does get level blocked, where you have to get that active experience to evolve into your Piloswine and your Mamoswine. So it can be a little bit tricky there. Snorlax, you always run a Crustle and Snorlax. Guys, you get movement speed with an experience share, so that's very valuable. I just don't think it's worth running another item. The amount of value that you get from the experience share is just too much to give up, right? Blissey, you always run an experience share on this item, on this Pokemon 100% of the time, right? If you are queuing into your solo queue lobbies and any of these Pokemon are not running an EXP share, it's like you're shaking your head. I just don't think it's a very good idea. We should absolutely be running it on this Pokemon. Comfey is a very similar conversation. It's probably the best in slot for Comfey. It's not even up for question. Sableye is probably, honestly, look, Sableye should just be in the it's a very similar conversation with the Metagross, right? It's encouraged. Okay, it's encouraged, but I mean, look, you might as well run it to get the movement speed. He really doesn't have that many good items. He's just not that great of a Pokemon in my opinion. He's been nerfed to a pulp, so. Mr. Mime, we should be running an experience share on Mr. Mime, guys. It's a supportive Pokemon, even if you're going the carry build with Mr. Mime. You've still got room to put that experience share on. You don't need to be taking all the experience. You got the level 4 Power Spike with the skill. No evolution, so you're not going to get evolution blocked anywhere. Very valuable. Wigglytuff absolutely should be running an EXP share on, and same as the Hoopa, right? These Pokemon do well early. They can get their skills early. Wigglytuff does get a mini evolution block, same as like these Pokemon here. They get their evolution block at level 4, same as Blissey. We'll put Blissey in there as well. So that's really the only thing you need to be careful for, but as soon as you get that evolution with those Pokemon, you are off and flying, right? Trevenant's got the level 5 evolution block. Crustle gets a level 4 evolution block as well. But like the rest of them, like these guys don't evolve, and we'll just get Trevenant out of the way and Mamoswine. Trevenant over here. These guys don't evolve, right? Like Snorlax, Comfey, Sableye, Mr. Mime, and Hoopa, they don't evolve, so it's absolutely advantageous, right? So really, this is a pretty straightforward tier list. It's these Pokemon we always use an experience share on 100% of the time in solo queue, duo queue, 5-stack, whatever it is that you're playing. These Pokemon have the experience share. These Pokemon down here, we don't ever use an experience share on them. Not ever. Not in a 5-stack, not in a solo queue, not in a trio queue. I don't care how hard you're cooking, guys. The EXP share is not a good item on these Pokemon whatsoever. Maybe you might think you've got some crazy thing cooking with Tyranitar, I don't know, but it'll be like 3 minutes and then you become a Tyranitar. You'll be so pathetically underleveled and useless as a Pupitar, so no, I wouldn't recommend. There are 10 Pokemon that are up for contention here. These are the sometimes, these are the maybes, these are the flexibility Pokemon that you can have some arguments with. Spicy picks are like they're builds that are cooking, they can work, and these other ones are highly encouraged. These are builds that you can go more of a carry build with those Pokemon and still get incredible value by not running the EXP share. So guys, if you got some value from this video, drop it a like. Let me know if you agree or disagree with anything in the comments, but I feel like in terms of a tier list, this one's probably going to be a little bit difficult to disagree with. But if you do, let me know, guys, and good luck in your solo queue lobbies. Share this with someone who's got some interesting thoughts about the experience share.